Hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. Gonna take up the Arrows F-15 2064 and the Oregon National Air Guard, or National Air Guard. I don't know how you say it. It's the Oregon Air National Guard. Okay, it's right there on the wing. If I ever forget it. So, gonna take her up and have a little fun. I'm actually gonna fly with the drop tanks on today, full ordnance, which I don't normally do. So let's get in position here. I'll just walk backwards and hopefully not fall down. All right. Right, high rates. My higher, just so you know, the rates I'm flying are 85%, 30% expo, 90 over 30 on the elevator, and rudder is 90 over 30. So, all right.
Motor on.
Talk about rates and everything, or the flap settings and everything after I get done flying. A little bit of a cross breeze, so kind of not a good thing to do with the tanks, but it's not real bad. Now this plane here, you must bring her in nice, straight, and level because of the narrow gear. And she does not have reverse thrust, so you're going to kind of high alpha your landings a little bit. All right. Timer's reset. I've already cycled the gear. I've already made sure flaps are working. So I'm going to do takeoff flaps. Here we go. Unfortunately, we don't have any clouds today. And that dark on the top of the wing actually helps with orientation.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
A little bit of right aileron. Well, that's a good looking plane there.
Gear down. Landing flaps.
There we go.
Flaps up.
All right, we'll just save some time and take off from down here. Save our battery. Okay.
Takeoff flaps.
All right, here we go.
Time remaining 2 minutes. Gear up. Flaps up.
Bring her back kind of low and slow. Man, what a smooth flyer.
Gear down.
I think she flies pretty good with the tanks down.
Landing flap. 1 minute.
Flies pretty good with the tanks on. All right. I'll be honest, I think I need to bring them flaps down a little bit more. As you can see, she doesn't really need reverse thrust. Yeah, I guess they're down enough. I mean, she lands fine. If I will land a little further back on the runway. All right.
Motor off.
All right, let's take it back, get a battery report. Okay, we're back. All right, as you can see, good flying bird. She flew just fine with the tanks on. I did notice it seemed like she had a little slower of a climb out, but not bad. I mean, once she got up on steps, she was fine. The rates that I flew, and I know I said at the very beginning, but I want to tell you again, high rates are 85 over 30% expo for the aileron, which is what I flew in. Elevator 90 over 30, and rudder was 90 over 30 also. Now, the flap settings that I used, no elevator to flap mix needed. Flaps up are a negative 100%. Takeoff flaps were negative 25%, and then landing were a positive 100%, and they seem to work just fine. Maybe I could have had the flaps down a little bit lower, but she did need reverse thrust. I still had a good maybe a fourth of the runway left when she finally stopped, or when I felt safe where she could turn. So doesn't really need reverse thrust. You bring her in just a little bit of a high alpha and let her roll out. But she's got very narrow gear, so you definitely want to make sure. I mean, look at how narrow that gear is. So you want to make sure that you're straight and level, okay? Because you can easily tip over on a wing. To show you where I've got the battery, this is a 4000 HRB, and I've got it tucked in about an inch in underneath here. Now, the only defect in this plane is, and it's a design flaw, it's not a defect, is they have not allowed for good cooling at all over the electronics. Good cooling on the ESCs, but there is nothing but a tiny little hole here where the retract wire comes in to get any air going over your battery. So your battery is going to be warm. For that reason, I don't like to fly this more than 3 minutes because it's hard on the battery. And that battery gets hot. Heat is what kills lipos. Exposure to a lot of heat. And this battery is hot. That whole cavern area is hot because it gets no cooling. So that's one miss on Aero's design there. And 32%, so that's a good storage rate. And I want to say I had the timer set for 3.5 minutes. 3.5 minutes, and I had 38 seconds left. So really set your timer for 3 minutes. You don't want to get your battery too hot. 3 minutes of flying is more than enough with a jet. And it does go by quick, but your heart's because you're flying so fast. I have an AR631 with the antenna going straight forward and then curved around for good reception and good range, and that's just a really good flying plane. Now, you do have to glue on the tail section. You got to glue on the rudders and the elevators, which I think is stupid. I think you should have to screw on so you can easily replace them. But they want you to buy a new plane if you crash it, I guess. But other than that, it needs more cooling, which I could do a mod, I'm sure. What you could do is there's a dam there where the gear comes in. You could take and carve some of that foam out and get a little more air in there, but it's not going to be much. And but other than that, it really needs to have a little better design for cooling on the battery. But if you just cut your timer down to 3 minutes and have more than one battery, you'll be fine. You'll find in this hobby that your batteries seem to be the biggest ongoing expense, because batteries don't last forever. And they only get so many cycles, and they start really puffing on you. And even if you take good care of them, this battery is probably about 3 years old, and I couldn't tell you how many cycles it's got. The way I tell the life of a battery is, number one, is it starting to puff on me? This one's not. And number two, am I starting to lose power? Am I able to charge it up to over 95% consistently and it comes back at the consistent rate each time. If I fly it the same way, does it come back at a good storage rate? And does it feel like, when I check each cell, are they all even with each other, or very, very close with each other? And these are all the things that you can tell. Yeah, they're all 3.8, 3.7, 3.78, 3.79, 3.8. They're all very close to each other. But that's what you're looking for with the life of a battery. If you don't know how long it's been, is it starting to puff? Is it keeping its shape? Is it holding the charge? Can you get it up over 95% consistently, and it stays there, and and then you use it, and then you bring it back at 30%, and it seems to be charged back up fine each time. As long as they're performing for you, it's fine. The cells are nice and balanced. As long as they're balanced, and it's okay. But it starts getting puffy and you start losing power, it's time to retire the battery. So, all right, well, thank you for watching, folks. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless you. Hobby Zone, thank you for sending me out the F-15 for a review. It's amazing flying bird. It just needs better cooling for the electronics. ESCs, cool, fine. But your radio and your battery needs a little better cooling. But that's just my observation. It's definitely not a game breaker. It's not a deal breaker. It's still a great plane to have. And all right, well, y'all have a good Merry Christmas. God is good. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends. And then strike eagles. Bye-bye.